What's going on, everybody? We got a lot of news here on Black Monday in the NFL. A lot of coaches getting fired, and then, of course, that leads to more coaching vacancies where offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators can be hired. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we got to talk about the latest news surrounding Klint Kubiak because I told you in the morning that he was going to be someone that teams wanted. A team already wants to at least have a conversation with him. And then Jonathan Gannon, we got to talk about where the Arizona Cardinals could go after the Jonathan Gannon firing and why it makes me oh so very sad. It's a double dose of troubling news on the show today. One news story that we already know 100% there will be someone else going in Arizona. And hey, could Kubiak potentially end up in Atlanta? And if he does end up in Atlanta, then the Seahawks got to go figure out who's going to be their OC in 2026. But it just turned to the new calendar year, so I want to make sure that I let you all know that if you subscribe to the channel and you turn on notifications, you will not miss another Seahawks Today video where we got you updated with the latest Seahawks news, the latest rumors surrounding the Seattle Seahawks, an injury update, whatever could be happening in 2026, we have you covered. We'll have you covered through this playoff run. We'll have you covered through the NFL offseason, free agency, NFL draft, you name it. We've got it. Hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Join the Noti gang today of Seahawks Today. All right. So what's going on in Atlanta? Last night, they cleaned house. Head coach Raheem Morris and GM Terry Fontenot, they were both let go, relieved of their duties in Atlanta, and it kind of makes some sense. Falcons were not all that good this year. They went on a run late where it seemed like maybe Morris would save his job, but it's very clear that the Falcons just want to start from scratch. They want a new head coach. They want a new GM. They are going to reset their franchise because it really just wasn't moving in the right direction for them. And I kind of assumed that they would go GM first and then try and bring in a head coach, maybe be one of the later teams to officially hire a head coach. But Tom Pelissero, NFL insider, kind of broke my heart a little bit today, saying that the Falcons have requested an interview with Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak. Now, why would they do that? Well, because this is the time if you are going to interview a coach that is in the playoffs. What do I mean by that? Klint Kubiak can interview with the Atlanta Falcons right now because the Seahawks are on the bye week because they are that number one seed. So if there is a team that is in the postseason right now, a lot of other teams will have to wait to interview potential candidates they may want until they get eliminated. So it is actually smart for the Atlanta Falcons to try and move forward quickly with Klint Kubiak so that way they can at least do their due diligence at the very beginning of this process. Now, just because he was one of the first two coaches that was brought in to go through this interview process does not mean that Kubiak to the Atlanta Falcons is a done deal. In fact, I think that there is a world that he might not even go into the next part of the process to be the Atlanta Falcons head coach, where we're talking about in-person interviews and whatnot. There is a chance that all that really happens is a brief conversation, and then you just kind of move on. Kind of like dating, right? Sometimes you have one dinner with someone, doesn't mean that they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend. But this will not be the last interview request for Klint Kubiak. He is a very good coach who has had rumors swirling around him basically since probably October, middle of November of this season. So we have to be ready and we do have to be prepared for what could potentially happen if Kubiak is brought into other spots to be potentially their next head coach. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about the Atlanta Falcons and where they could possibly be heading with their other head coaching candidates, but I got to let you know about this sweet new sponsorship deal that we have with Rocket Money because I'll tell you right now, I have a lot of exciting trips planned for the summer. It's January. People are already chilly. It's cold. I'm already looking forward to what could be happening for me in the summer, and thank goodness I found Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. So right now, what I've been using Rocket Money for are two different things. I went over to Rocket Money and I went through all of the different subscriptions that I had. And what do you know? I found that I had a couple of streaming services that I was double paying for. Rocket Money helped me find that, eliminate that problem, and now I've got some extra money that's coming back into my bank. I told you about the visits that I was going to do in July, all the different places that I was going to go. Well, I need a budget to be able to afford those trips. So Rocket Money has been helping me set financial goals each month, each week, so that way I can save just a little bit now, a little bit then, and when I go on my vacations in the middle of the summer, I'll be set up in the perfect spot. Thank you so much to Rocket Money. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. That's rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. Tell you right now, those budgets, they're really, really helpful. We're keeping it tight in January. Can't wait to go see some of the places that I'm going to with Rocket Money. Back to the head coaching searches going on in Atlanta. Anthony Weaver was the other coach that they reached out to, so he will be getting an interview request, probably go through that interview process, the Dolphins at DC. Now, Kevin Stefanski, he was the Browns head coach going into this morning. He is no longer the Browns head coach at the time of this recording. Well, because he was one of the coaches that was let go on Black Monday. He is someone that the Atlanta Falcons could be potentially interested in. Chris Shula, obviously having a fantastic year over in LA, could be someone that they talk to. And of course, Cliff Kingsbury, another coordinator who's done a great job over in Washington this year. Not as good as last year, but everybody knows that Cliff Kingsbury is a darn good coach. Hopefully, the Atlanta Falcons will decide to take somebody else. I still believe in my heart of hearts that Klint Kubiak will be in Seattle come 2026. But I can't fully guarantee that. And because I can't fully guarantee that, I just kind of have to keep my fingers crossed, and I have to hope that all things will come back our way in Seattle. Now, it would not be a bad idea for the Falcons to hire Kubiak, but it's all going to depend on where they want their offense to go, or if they think that somebody else is a better head coaching candidate. I want you to predict it right now. I've already told you that I don't think he will be, because I think he'll be back in Seattle. But will Kubiak be the next Falcons head coach? Yes or no? Let me know down below in the comment section where you're kind of thinking on that. Now, I think it's important for us to talk about what is happening down in Arizona. And I understand that Jonathan Gannon being relieved of duties isn't necessarily bad news for the Seattle Seahawks. In fact, it kind of doesn't really affect the Seattle Seahawks right now, but it will affect the Seattle Seahawks in 2026. What do I mean by that? Ian Rappaport obviously reported out that Jonathan Gannon had been fired and relieved of his duties over in Arizona. There were so many losses at the end of the year. It felt like Gannon went from a guy who I told you back in November, I believe, I said, hey, I think he's safe. I think he's going to be good to go. But the way that the season ended, clearly that's not what they wanted over there in Arizona. And honestly, the minute that I saw the news break, I went, no! I don't want Jonathan Gannon fired. Sorry for your eardrums, by the way. I want Jonathan Gannon to stay in Arizona. They should have given him one more year. Not because I thought that the Arizona Cardinals were on track to do something. I mean, just look at what Jonathan Gannon had been doing in Arizona. But because I wanted them to mess it up again. I wanted Jonathan Gannon to stay in Arizona. He didn't win a whole lot of games his first year. In 2024, maybe they're starting to figure it out. But remember, they kind of fell apart late in that season as well. And then this year, they were absolutely atrocious. And yes, you can equate it to some injuries. And Kyler Murray a lot of the injuries there and making it pretty clear that the Cardinals are going to move on from him. But it's clear that he wasn't doing a very good job in Arizona. So I get why they moved on from him. I just don't want them to. When you look at Gannon's record in the NFC West, it's not like he was killing it. He doesn't have a winning record against any of the teams. In fact, he's never beaten the Seattle Seahawks, and he never will as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals because he's not there anymore. I wanted the Cardinals to keep Gannon in-house because I knew the Seahawks would get 2 easy wins every single year. Because I knew the Seahawks wouldn't be the worst placed team in the NFC West because, well, that's where the Arizona Cardinals would be. Now the Cardinals have an opportunity to go in and hire a head coach that doesn't have videos on Twitter where he's going explosives, pew, 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 pew. Like, what the hell was that? Right? Now the Arizona Cardinals can go in and hire a competent head coach. That doesn't mean that I'm immediately worried. That doesn't mean that I think that the Cardinals will make a home run hire and they'll instantly become better than the Seattle Seahawks. No. But I do worry when you look at the division and you look at the NFC West. You have the Rams who are in the playoffs with the 5 seed and are 1 game away from being the 1 seed. You have the San Francisco 49ers who are tied with the Rams, but behind them because of whatever the tiebreaker was that I already forgot. There are 3 teams in the NFC West right now that are in the playoffs. If the Cardinals don't become a pushover and hire a very competent head coach, the NFC West went from being hard to almost unimaginable, right? It's going to be a war of pure attrition to get out of that division. So when I look at Arizona, I'm definitely keeping one eye kind of pinned on them. Who are they hiring? I hope it isn't Shula. I hope it's not someone who's pretty confident. In fact, I'm going to start banging the Matt Nagy drum right now. I hope they go and make a hire for somebody that it just doesn't make sense. Because this conference, this division is already hard enough. It feels like any team can win the NFC. It feels like any team but the Cardinals can win the NFC West. I would like it to stay that way. So I'm going to keep one eye on what's going on down in Glendale, and hopefully they don't make a good hire. I do want to ask you this, though, as more head coach jobs open throughout the week. Who should get a head coaching job in 2026? It's a nice question that we don't have to worry about. We don't have to ask because Mike Macdonald's going to be in Seattle for a very long time. He's proven that for sure. But who do you think, down below in the comment section, deserves a head coaching job in the 2026 season of the NFL? Thank you to everyone who's helping us subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 79K. Help us out. Hit that sub button. We're just, 115 away. So help us out. Hit that sub button. And while you're there, turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any Seattle Seahawks content that we got going out here on the channel. So make sure you hit that noti bell so you never miss a news story surrounding the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.